You want money and you're willing to do whatever it takes. But your rear end is for exits only, so nothing that could land you in prison. Here's the plan, and if you follow it properly, you could walk away with $50,000 without much hassle. When two big companies join together, the people who own shares in those companies are supposed to get paid. It's called dividends. But sometimes those people pass away or disappear before they collect. When that happens, the money just sits there, frozen, on a public government website where literally anyone can look it up. For years, sometimes decades, it's just waiting to land in someone's bank account. Let's make it land in your bank account. A lot of that forgotten money doesn't belong to a person. It belongs to a small company that no longer exists. The company shut down, everyone walked away, and the check never got picked up. But the government is still holding it. So here's what you do. Instead of trying to find the original owners, you pay $300 to the state government to legally restart that dead company with yourself in charge. The company is owed money. You now own the company. So you file a claim and the check comes to your door. You didn't steal anything. The original owners were out of the picture years ago. That same government website has hundreds of these dead companies with forgotten checks attached to them. Once you know how to find them and how to do the paperwork, you're not doing this once. You're doing it over and over. At that point, you're basically running a business that finds dead companies with money still owed to them, brings them back to life on paper, and collects the check. You can use the same playbook for another type of asset. This just might be the most elegant scam that isn't actually a scam that I've ever heard of. It starts with spending a couple $100 and could end with you sitting in your chair turning down six-figure offers. Because anything less than $1 million is just too pathetic. Here's how it works. Every brand name you've ever loved, every logo on a t-shirt you wore in middle school, every record label that defined your taste in music, every tech company that felt like the future, all of that is protected by something called a trademark. It's basically the government putting a fence around a name and saying, this belongs to someone. But when that company goes broke and shuts down, nobody pays the fence bill. The trademark expires, the fence comes down, and the name just sits there, unclaimed, on a public government database where anyone can look it up. Most people have no idea this is even possible. So you go to the USPTO, just a government website, and you search for trademarks listed as dead or abandoned. You're specifically hunting for iconic brands from the 90s and early 2000s, the kind of brands that spent $50 million on marketing to become famous, but went bankrupt before they could cash in. Think clothing lines, record labels, tech companies, brands that are burned into the memory of an entire generation of people who grew up wearing, listening to, and buying them. Spend a couple hours here until you find something you can afford that has strong brand recognition. Then you file an application. $350. Your name goes on the trademark. Done. You just legally inherited $50 million worth of brand recognition for the price of a car payment. Now here's where it gets fun. You take that logo and you upload it to Amazon Merch or Redbubble. These are print-on-demand platforms, so no warehouse, inventory, shipping, or even employees. You don't deal with any of it. Someone orders a hoodie, it gets printed, it gets shipped, and you get paid without ever touching a single product. You're probably wondering how to get people to buy it. It can't be that easy, right? Remember, the hard part was already done by the company years ago. Building brand recognition. People buy things they recognize. When someone scrolling Amazon sees a brand they loved as a teenager, their brain short-circuits and goes straight to checkout. You're not selling a hoodie, you're selling a feeling. And the dead company already did all the work of creating that feeling decades before you showed up. That alone can generate passive income indefinitely. But the real money? You wait. Because eventually, and this is almost guaranteed with the right brand, someone with serious money decides they want to reboot it. Maybe it's a venture capital firm or a private equity group. It could even be a celebrity who watched too many Hustle Bro videos and decided to become an entrepreneur. Yes, I'm thinking of Dwayne Johnson too. When they go to register the trademark, they find out it's already taken. They have two options. Sue you, which is expensive, slow, makes them look like a bully, and still not guaranteed to work since you registered it legally. Or just pay you to go away. They always pay you to go away. It's not worth the hassle. $1 million, sometimes more, just to clear the path so they can get on with their reboot. You spent $350 and it made you a millionaire. But let's take it up a notch. It's time to make rich companies beg. This is based on a true story when one of the biggest car companies in the world lost to an everyday man. Every company needs a website, and every website needs a domain name. And domain names work on a first-come, first-served basis. Whoever registers it first owns it. In 1994, a man named Uzi registered Nissan.com, not as a scheme, not as an investment, just as a website for his computer company in North Carolina. His last name was Nissan. The company was called Nissan Computer Corporation. It made complete sense. He paid $15 for it. That $15 decision would haunt the only Japanese car company that managed to make unreliable cars in a country famous for never making unreliable cars. Nissan Motors. By the time they realized they didn't own their own name on the internet, Uzi had already been sitting on Nissan.com for 5 years. Just like their transmissions, Nissan failed at the exact moment it mattered most. So they called him and asked to buy it. He said no. So they did what billion-dollar companies do when a regular person tells them no. They sued him. Trademark dilution, trademark infringement, cyber squatting. The full legal weight of one of the most powerful corporations on the planet dropped onto one man in North Carolina whose only crime was having the right last name and being faster with a registration form. The case went all the way to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Uzi won. The court refused to force him to hand over the domain. Nissan Motors, a multi-billion-dollar company, was forced to use nissanusa.com for their American website. Like a kid who shows up late to class and has to sit in the leftover chair at the back. Except the kid is a multinational corporation and the chair cost them decades of legal fees. Uzi never sold. He never backed down. He literally held that domain until his last days. He passed away in 2020, and even then, when unknown persons tried to steal the domain while his estate was being settled, a judge ordered it returned. Uzi Nissan kept winning from the grave. Uzi won his court cases, but he missed out on a huge payday. Imagine how much he could have sold his domain for. Probably millions. Much more money than he would make with his computer business. But we're not going to make that mistake because we want to get paid. Here's how it works. Smaller companies, especially non-tech companies, are so focused on growth and product development, they forget about technology and online presence. The gap between a company being announced and a company registering their domain is your window. You read the news, you follow startup funding announcements, you pay attention to new brands, new products, new companies making noise. The moment you spot one that hasn't locked down their domain, you register it. Today, before they do, $10 to $15. You now own the internet address of a company that is about to spend millions on marketing, advertising, and branding, all of which will point people toward a website that belongs to you. At some point, their team sits down to build their online presence, discovers your name on the registration, and your $15 purchase becomes their very expensive headache. Companies have paid anywhere from $10,000 to millions of dollars to get their own name back, because the alternative is what happened to Nissan Motors. Keep in mind, registering a domain specifically to extort a company that already has an established trademark is called cyber squatting. That is illegal, and courts will rule against you. The difference is timing. You register before the company is famous, before the trademark is established, before the brand exists at scale. That is completely legal. You got there first. They come to you. They negotiate. They beg. But you can take it one step further. You don't buy the domain under your own name. You create an LLC with a name that justifies owning it and buy the domain through your LLC. You can literally set up an LLC in under 10 minutes online. When you're at the domain name checkout page, enter your LLC details. If the company you're targeting is a fashion brand, your LLC is a fashion company. Your fashion company needs a website. That website just happens to be the exact domain a soon-to-be very famous brand desperately needs. Then sell some stuff. Throw a few bracelets on Etsy. Put a basic website up. You don't need to build an empire, you just need enough of a paper trail to prove this is a real business with a legitimate reason to own that domain. Now you're not a squatter. You're a small business owner who got there first. Just like Uzi. The LLC costs a few $100s. The domain costs $15. The bracelets cost whatever you find wholesale. You don't need a good business or good products. You just need to look legit. When a company shows up waving a legal letter demanding you hand it over, you don't hand it over. You name your price. But wait up. A huge payday comes with a huge tax bill. Isn't it unfair how the people who can actually afford to pay the most tax pay the least? So let's beat them at their own game. Watch this video to learn the 5 levels of legally avoiding tax. Level 5 is what billionaires like Warren Buffett and Jeff Bezos do to pay less taxes than their secretary.